Electronics and safety gear wise, I probably carry a little bit more than what your average through hiker in the US would do, just because I like to have communications and cover my bases there if something goes not how I would plan it. Electronic wise, I've got a little Anker 550 milliamp hour battery pack with my Apple charger and USB chargers for both the battery pack and the phone. I use my phone as my navigation device and also camera and communications. So my iPhone has got apps on it, HEMA mapping app, which has got Bibbulmun track on it, and you fire it up and it instantly shows you where you are in reality on the map, because it works offline just off of the GPS. It doesn't need phone network coverage. So with the battery pack and my phone, if I'm fully charged when I leave a resupply, the battery pack will charge my phone up probably for about another 3 times. So I usually get 2 to 3 days battery life out of a phone. So I've got 10, 11, maybe even 12 days worth of battery life between the little Anker battery pack plus my phone charge. If it's really, really wet or I'm crossing a creek or something like that, there's a risk to my phone. I've got this little Sea Summit waterproof dry pouch, which is completely waterproof once it's sealed up, that I put my phone into. So I carry that in the top pocket of my pack. I always use a Gen 3 spot tracker. It's primarily a safety measure so my family know where I am. So I use the tracking function as soon as I get going in the morning. I also then press the OK button at lunchtime, usually, and then I've got a custom message for the evening which tells them that I am safely arrived at my final camp for that day, and then I turn it off. With the lithium energizer AAA batteries, it takes 4 AAAs, I've found that they last easily up to 3 to 4 weeks before they need changing out. In fact, I've never had them run flat. I've just routinely changed them out once I've got to a 3-4 week time period. So I run the spot tracker all the time, so my family can get the messages both by SMS and text, and they know where I am. In addition to that, I carry a satellite phone. It's a prepaid satellite phone, so the charges are reasonably good. In fact, in the States, when I was hiking on the PCT last year, it was cheaper to use the satellite phone than what it was to use my Telstra mobile. And I have used that in terms of communicating, and it's also there if something really goes serious and I need to get help quickly. Fortunately, I haven't had to do that. But while I know the Spot has an SOS function, I prefer to not use that as my main emergency notification. I prefer to carry this small Rescue Me PLB, which is registered with the Australian Emergency Services system. It's only just over 100 grams. I think it's about 120 grams of its little pouch. It's the smallest personal locator beacon that's available at the moment. Cost, I think, from memory, $180. And it's nice and compact. And I know that if I'm really in trouble, I can fire that off, and that will get me in touch in terms of knowing that there's an issue and where my location is to emergency services very quickly. Satellite phones are great, but they're not always 100% reliable in terms of getting through, but I know that will contact emergency services and pinpoint my location every time I need to use it, which I haven't done. So that's my safety comms there. I also carry this little lightweight rescue flash signal mirror. If you've got a helicopter or a plane trying to locate you, you do the old looking through the hole in the middle of the mirror and directly at the plane, and they can see the mirror flash from quite a long distance. So, and that weighs, I think from memory, it's about 15, 16 grams. I do carry a compass, even though I've got a compass app and also the GPS functions of the mapping apps on my phone. This is a Sunto clip phone, compass, which is used in orienteering. It's a proper compass. It's not one of those cheap and nasty little things you get in a Kellogg's packet. It's fluid filled and it's calibrated for the southern hemisphere, so it's a proper compass. And that's a backup in terms of direction finding. Interestingly enough, I actually used it last year going over the top of Mount Cook. It was so clouded in, and with the bushfire that went through Mount Cook, it wasn't clear where the track was going, and it was the only time where I found myself a little bit unsure whether I was heading in the right direction, and I pulled out this little compass, and sure enough I was heading south, so all was good. This is my head torch. It's a Petzl E-Light. It's pretty much the smallest head torch that you can get these days. Runs off a lithium 2032 battery, I think it is. Yeah, it works fine. I don't really use a head torch very lot because I stop well before dark, set up camp and get organised, have my meals, and by the time it's dark I'm in bed, so the head torch is really just a backup. And also on my iPhone I've got a head torch app as well if need be, so between the phone and this little Petzl E-Light, which only weighs 25 grams, it's pretty good. It's 50 lumens, which is more than enough just doing little odds and sods around the huts at night, going to the toilet and things like that. So that's basically the range of electronics and safety gear. So mapping wise, I do have, as I've mentioned, the HEMA Maps app on my phone, which will give me my real location using the GPS built into the phone. But also I always carry with me a hard copy of the maps for each section, so that should my technology fail me, I've still got a real map to use. I haven't found that the little handbook's very useful. They're alright to have a look at in a planning phase, but the information that's in them doesn't really assist in terms of navigation on the track any more than what the maps do, and the maps are lighter, and I think they give you more information because you've got a broader area surrounding the track to look at. So I don't bother carrying the little handbooks, notebooks with me, just the maps and the information I've got on the apps on the phone. First aid kit. Having thought through what the likely risks are while hiking, and certainly what I've experienced or not experienced over the last few years, I don't really carry a great deal first aid wise, because if something is really significant and life-threatening, I'm going to be jumping straight to these guys anyway to contact the outside world. If it's minor stuff, then I feel I can pretty much deal with what I've got here. So I'll just quickly run through that. Toothpaste, toothbrush, and yes, I've cut my toothbrush down and saved about 5 grams, I think. I can't remember now. But yeah, just reduced it down, got rid of some excess weight. Don't carry very many band-aids because got a few just in case, but as explained with my footwear, I haven't had any blisters over the last couple of years and a couple of thousand kilometres of hiking, so I feel pretty comfortable about my footwear, but got some band-aids just in case, and also some surgical tape if I start getting hot spots or wear spots there. Take a few lens cleaners just to clean my glasses. Obviously the toilet paper, carry toilet paper or sometimes wipes instead of paper, which tend to work quite well. Earplugs are mandatory when sleeping in the huts, because you never know how noisy or not others will be. So yeah, usually have a bundle of earplugs. Then it's just a few what if type things. Got some night and day tablets in case I pick up a cold along the way. Just a couple of little swabs. A couple of alcohol swabs, little medi alcohol swabs. As butterfly sutures in case I've got a little bit of a cut or something that needs pulling together, holding together. And if it got really serious, I've actually got a suture, needle and thread there. Imodium is probably one of the main risks. Gastro, picking up a bug, food or water. So I've got some Imodium, which I've used in the past when I've had bad gastro, worked quite well. And also if I start pulling a few long sort of 40k plus type days, I might need some ibuprofen just to help with my hip that gets a little bit achy on a long hard day. But generally I'm fine. I can do sort of 30-35 k's and not have any problems, but I found on the PCT last year I started pushing beyond doing a 40k day, that a couple of ibuprofen helped me relieve that. The only cutting implement I've got is these little surgical scissors. These actually came from eBay. They're Chinese. They cost, I think from memory, $2.50 including postage from China. They're folding ones. They're very light. They weigh less than 20 grams and they're often in a little first aid surgical kit. So I've got that to do any cutting that's required. Also a little Virgin Australia pen that I got off the airline, nice and light, so I've got a pen with me to fill out the logbooks at the huts each day, and it all just goes into a Ziploc bag. So that's sort of that stuff. I actually didn't mention also in terms of a towel, I use one of these large, thick, very absorbent Chucks wipes, which is very light but very absorbent, and mostly find that I'm really just using that occasionally just to wipe a little bit of condensation or moisture off on the inside of the tent. But that's my towel, and importantly, which does get used frequently, is a small lightweight pack of sunscreen, and yeah, some more of the earplugs, and some Aspro. That's about the only real pain relief type sort of stuff that I take, and it's also useful for thinning the blood if you need to. That's pretty much it. Now I forgot to mention this one. This is probably the main item of emergency first aid that I carry, and that's a compression bandage to be able to put on a limb should one suffer a snake bite. So it's fairly weighty, but given the number of snakes, particularly on the south coast, it's a piece of emergency first aid that's definitely worth carrying in amongst the kit. So compression snake bite bandage basically.